people's house.
Big Zeus.
It's the people's house.
Big Zeus.
Go up to the gate, 1600 on the map. Supposed to be the people's house, I make it like a trap. Marble floors and chandeliers, I'm balling through the wall. Power to the people, yeah, I gotta make that call. Trapping for the team, red and white and blue, that's me. Voices on the block, I'm breaking through, I got the keys. I'm in the lobby, yeah, I'm moving like an OG. Posted in the Oval Office in the executive suite. Signing for the fam, yeah, you know my game's strong. Freedom is the banner and I got my chains on. Secret Service watching snipers sitting on the roof. Truth is hitting hard, I bury you inside the booth. Founding father's vision, yeah, I'm flexing with this cash. Big pharma, big tech, turn these dreams to bag. I'm the voice of the hood, trying to come and storm the gates. Ballots in my hand, but the system's overweight. They painted white, yeah, but the stains running deep. Promise they selling it, but you know it ain't coming cheap. Legends walk these rooms, Lincoln, MLK, now it's photo ops, power plays all day. I'm trapping for the vote. Yeah, Big Zeus. It's the people's house. Big Zeus. Powers in the air. Big Zeus. We knocking on the door. Big Zeus. We wanna hear your soul. Yeah. Yeah. Who you think they asking for? They asking for that smoke. People, them players, yeah, y'all think this is a joke. Take it back and write the code. 1600, got your soul. Put my portrait on the wall. They staring at me like I'm cold. Greatest story ever told. I will never ever fold. I'm trapping out the west wing, doing deals all in the dark. Make your dreams come true. All I need is a spark. Red phone ringing, but you don't know who is on my line. Got the Constitution jumping, yeah, you know I'm so divine. No stains on my kicks and the rally outside. And the gates is locked. This power never divides. Spitting for the block. Head buses make them wanna fight. 1600, do it all day, all night. The people's house is a trap. Got the power, get it back. Money talk loud, time to clap. Fight for the keys, that's a fact. It's a rap, I'ma bring it back. In the people's house, powers in the air. It's the people's house, we knocking on your door.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen.
We wanna hear your soul.
Big Zeus. Once again, it's me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, happy Tuesday, right? Oh my gosh, time is flying. You know what we came to do, and we don't got much time to do it. All right, let's get it going. All right. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Let's get this show started. All right. There it goes, right there. You know what we came to do, ladies and gentlemen. We don't got much time to do it. All right. I know. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. WN.
Terminator screaming, I'll be back. It's deja vu when I'm out here flying first class. It's like every week I gotta take out the trash.
I'm on top of my game, ahead of the class. W Shay. Look at my grass. Cars in the garage. Seriously, I won't finish last. Sitting in my living room screaming how we made it. This is how it's supposed to happen when we're rich and famous. Right, Shay? To a maniac. Yes. I guess we go.
Zodiac. I got all these numbers on my spreadsheet.
This is my best friend. You know what I'm talking about, Heaven? They don't get replies if they text me. I say it with my chest cause I'm eating. Here it goes. Here it goes, right here. This is the part right here. It gets me all the time. Here it goes.
I'll tell you what, I haven't gone into Zeus's live. It felt realistic.
Yes.
Shit was radical.
Very radical.
It was
Snuggles.
horrible. I'm like, Zeus has gone way off.
Oh. It hurts every time. It really does. All right. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thunderdome. Oh, you all must be excited today. Yeah, it hurts. It hurts every single time I hear them say that because it's the projection, and it's like, what did I do to deserve that, right? But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, let's take care of some very important housekeeping items. Yes, good morning to each and every single one of you. Yes, I'm so happy to see all of you. Just in case you were wondering, for those of you who don't know who I am, though, I go by the name Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. Eugene, knock it off. It's not for you. It's for me. All right. The first stage is, well, because I'm honest. I'm the most honest person on social media, hands down. The second H is, well, it's because I'm humble. Listen, if I get it wrong, I will be the first to apologize, but here's the thing. Just because your feelings are hurt, it doesn't mean Big Zeus owes you an apology. Most likely it means you need to sit your special behind down and listen to this special broadcast. Thank you, Cece. I appreciate that. And then the last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, which we all know is the most important H of them all. It is because I am and will remain the most handsome. Nutty hates when I do that, but he's learning to live with it because acceptance is important around here. All right. Now, many of you know exactly what we do over here on this side of TikTok. What we do is spectacular. It's very, very special. We hold these folks on the right accountable for the wickedness and the evil that they have continued to bring upon this nation because they refuse to denounce Donald J. Trump, knowing that Donald Trump is leading them as well as this country off of a cliff. And it's basically, and the way we're doing it is we're going to help them understand that the decisions that they made in November, when they could have voted for Vice President Kamala Harris, they say elections have consequences. We're helping them understand that there are truly, truly consequences for going into that voting booth and doing something I would argue is the most dangerous thing anybody could do. The most dangerous thing in this country, ladies and gentlemen, honestly, is a uninformed Trump voter. It's the most dangerous thing I've ever seen. And so what we're going to do is tell them the truth, whether they like it or not. So before I go any further, let me check in with everyone. Do I have any Trump supporters out there? JP Farms, good morning. JPT Farms, I'm so sorry, good morning. Are there any Trump supporters out there? Anybody still proudly supporting Donald Trump? Just identify yourselves. Honestly, I don't really. Good morning, Rick. Good morning, Patty. I don't need to talk to you right now. I just need to make sure you're out there, because what I'll do is this. I'll give you an opportunity of a lifetime. If you do not want Big Zeus to hurt your feelings this morning, you don't want me to ruin your breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and everything in between, including what? The Cheez-Its and the Diet Coke. Do me a huge favor and leave right now, because it's going to get very, very uncomfortable for you. If you don't believe me, ask that guy that came up here yesterday. His name was DJ. Turns out DJ couldn't handle the heat yesterday. I got to go, Zeus, because, we were doing a number on him. But he's a Trump supporter, but he's learning that there's nothing good that comes from supporting Donald Trump. So if you do not want to experience what DJ experienced yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, leave right now, because it's going to get very, very uncomfortable for you. Oh, not just him, Snuggie too. Snuggie went crying on his own platform. He cried to all 5 people in there, right? If you don't want to have to embarrass yourself like that, just leave right now, because like I said, it's going to get very, very uncomfortable in here. But get this, you don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here,
ooh, that's loud,
then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the doors to the Thunderdome have officially closed. I take no responsibility for what others say or do, as long as they're being honest, because the truth is going to start flying around, all right? But we're promoting love over here in order to save this great country of ours. There's so many things that I could talk about this morning, ladies and gentlemen, but the thing that I definitely need to get out and at least address is, I honestly thought Donald Trump was going to be gone for more than 24 hours. Didn't we all think, goodness gracious? I mean, Canada, we love you, but it was a good thing that he left the country, and we were hopefully going to get him to actually focus on other things besides what he's focused on, because one thing we all know is whatever Donald Trump is involved with, it never, ever, ever turns out good. Just ask his wives, W. Zeus. Just ask his wives, and I don't even like to do that, but They know what I mean, and that's a low blow. I shouldn't have said that, but and so we know that he's not delivered on any of his campaign promises, and so he goes to Canada in the G7 meeting, and once again he just manages, ladies and gentlemen, to embarrass the United States of America. You know, I've been embarrassed in my lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. I've been embarrassed about a lot of things, but one thing I must say about this administration. Every day, isn't it true? Every day you wake up, you find out you are actually more embarrassed to be an American than you were the day before or the week before or the month before, right? It's because we have the most incompetent person in the White House, W. Zeus. So we're going to get to judgment. And listen, if you do not want to cry this morning, MAGA, like I said, just leave because you're going to cry. First of all, we're going to listen to Donald Trump yesterday go on record in front of the world and praise Vladimir Putin. When I saw this, I said, what did Putin do to Donald Trump to make him praise him so much? This is some sick stuff.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it, and we've developed a very good relationship, and we're going to be talking about trade and many other things.
Hold on.
And we have a whole group of people, some traders and some other people. I see my top economy people. But we have a very talented group of people, and you do too, and I know that work together very well. I look forward to that. The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in, and I would say that was a mistake because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in, and you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago. But
Hannah, if you don't mind, Hannah, could you just listen for a quick second? I'm showing you that your dear leader isn't all about America first. He's all about Russia first. Did you know that, Hannah? What border nonsense are you talking about? The border isn't more secure, Hannah, and I can promise you that I got evidence that the border isn't secure. Hannah, let me ask you a question. Did the United States ever build that wall and make Mexico pay for it, Hannah? If you could actually get a photo of the complete wall, I would totally appreciate that. All right, Hannah? But I know you won't be able to get a photo, so do me a favor and sit your special behind down, Hannah, and continue to listen to this special broadcast. All right, I'm teaching. You need to be learning. All right, W. Zeus. And listen to what your dear leader was doing in Canada yesterday. Totally worshiping Putin instead of putting America first.
It didn't work out that way, but it used to be the G8, and now it's, I guess, 8 years ago, it switched over. They threw Russia out, which I claimed was a very big mistake, even though I wasn't in politics then. I was very loud about it. It was a mistake in that.
Why?
You spend so much time talking about Russia, and he's no longer at the table, so it makes life more complicated. But you wouldn't have had the war. Other than that, I think we're going to accomplish a lot, and I expect to. And I think our primary focus will be trade and trade with Canada, and I'm sure we can work something out.
Yeah, very
Thank
good.
you very much.
Yeah, so much. Thank you very much.
Now let's get to the questions.
Mr. President, holding up a deal with Canada?
Say it.
What is holding up a deal with Canada from your perspective?
It's not so much holding up. I think we have different concepts. I have a tariff concept, and Mark has a different concept, which is something that some people like. But we're going to see if we can get to the bottom of it today. I'm a tariff person. I've always been a tariff. It's simple, it's easy, it's precise, and it just goes very quickly. And I think Mark has a more complex idea, but also very good. So we're going to look at both, and we're going to see what we're going to come out with something. Hopefully.
This is easy to debunk. How many Trump supporters are with him on the tariffs? Any Trump supporters? I want to talk to not just any Trump supporter. I want to talk to that Trump supporters who's the tariffs they've made. The 50% on the tariffs has actually put them out of business. Could you please come up and tell us why Donald Trump's idea for tariffs is a good idea? I want to talk to the Trump supporters who've actually been harmed by his tariffs, all right? Not the ones that are out here speculating and talking about all this so-called revenue that's going to come in as no, because you're in fantasy land. I want to talk to the real deal Trump supporters out there that have been truly impacted by this. And guess what? You know they won't come up here because then they would have to admit that they've been manipulated, bamboozled, and lied to, right? So what I'll do is this. To all the Trump supporters that continue to support Donald Trump and his so-called simple tariffs, even though you know it's putting you out of business, it's making your life really a living hell. And you're just too prideful. You just got too much pride in yourself. You can't admit you made a terrible mistake. You know what I'll do? I'll take care of that. Ladies and gentlemen, let's warm up this lake of fire. Somebody said it's a what did they call it? A blower? You think this is a blower? This isn't a blower. This is just something that I use to help you understand you're in a deep, deep trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send these Trump supporters who support Donald Trump still where they belong, straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
And W Zeus. Now you could go finish watching the rest of this ridiculous interview that he did. The prime minister basically had to say, "Stop the cameras. I got to go talk to this man in the back and help him understand. We don't need him to come up here and say anything. We just need him to understand." You gotta stop, all right? So you could go watch the rest of that. So after they get done meeting and whatnot, then there was another embarrassing moment, and you can see it right here, ladies and gentlemen. And what's the backdrop to this? What's the backdrop to this story? Well, here's the thing. He gets up there and he tells the world that he signed a trade deal with the European Union. How many people think he did that yesterday? Because what he did was he signed a trade deal with the UK. But he misspoke. He doesn't even know what he's signing. So the question then remains, you know how he has this whole thing about Joe Biden and the auto pen, right? Here we have it playing out in real time, MAGA. Your dear leader has no clue what he is signing. Look at that. And he couldn't even pick it up because he has that catheter issue, right? So this is just embarrassing. I said, I've never seen anything like this. Hey, teacher with common sense. You call yourself a teacher? That's interesting. Let me see if I can see if you could teach us something. Hey, teacher with common sense, could you come on up here real quick? You call yourself a teacher. I sent you an invite, or send me a guest request, teacher with common sense. That's an interesting name. With a name like that, how could I resist? Teacher with common sense. Could you send me a guest request, or are you just going to sit out there and make yourself seem like you're intelligent, but you're not really intelligent? Well, case closed. Because here's the thing, teacher with common sense. You voted for Trump, I assume, right? You did? Well, you know what I say. And this is something your dear leader said about you.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
W Zeus, it was easy. Just sit your special behind down and listen to this special broadcast, because there's more. There's more. Trust me. I like to give you Trump supporters reality checks. That's what these are. These are reality checks. So I just played to you an example of how Donald Trump was embarrassing us by worshiping Vladimir Putin, a war criminal. All right. Now we're going to get into him saying we have a trade deal with the EU when he really should have said UK, which is a sign that he's too old to be in the White House. It's very simple, MAGA. And again, this is why I tell you, Trump supporters, every single thing that you all made fun of President Biden about, it's all going to happen to you and your dear leader, because trust me, this job of being the president of the United States of America, it's the most stressful job a person could have. You go in one way, you're going to come out with a bunch of gray hair. You're going to burn a lot of bridges and stuff like that, because it's very, very hard to be a public servant at that level with all that power. And here you did. You put a man in the White House clearly wearing he has a catheter. We know this. Balding. We see that. His hand is messed up. You can see all these health issues he has going on, and his cognitive abilities are basically down the drain. And this is where he's at now. And so you all are going to have to defend this for 4 years. All right, here we go.
Thank you very much. We all know the great Prime Minister of the UK, and we just signed.
The big reveal not going quite to plan.
Listen to
Keir
this.
Starmer scooping up his precious US-UK trade deal.
Very important document.
As President Trump first dropped the deal and then confused who it was with.
So we have our trade agreement with the European Union.
The PM politely ignoring President Trump's gaffes, instead relishing the win.
But Donald, thank you very much. This now implements on car tariffs and aerospace, our really important agreement. And so this is a very good day for both of our countries, a real sign of strength. So thank you again, Donald. A really important day for both of us.
Great people.
Good morning, everyone.
This
So Keir Starmer had to correct Donald Trump, and he just ignored they called it a gaffe, but it's not a gaffe. When you confuse the EU with the UK, and you are the sitting president of the United States, there's no forgiveness. Absolutely. Now, I would forgive Donald Trump if he would have overlooked Joe Biden and his gaffes, right? Because we would have said people do that all the time. That's how I am under normal conditions. But we're not under normal conditions. If you run an entire campaign on making fun of President Biden because of his age and his gaffes, you know what I want to see? I want to see perfection out of you. And what I'm not getting is perfection. He doesn't know who he signed the deal with, right? And this is the same guy running around bragging about he knows Joe Biden had the auto pen. Well, who the heck signed that document, champ? Clearly it wasn't you. So you're not doing perfection there. And then the second thing is this part right here. You dropped him. You dropped the paperwork. What, you nervous or something? You getting a little queasy up there? All right, no problem. I'll take care of that. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and warm up the lake of fire again. All right? Because this is the hypocrisy that MAGA continues to dwell in, and we're watching it unfold in real time, and it just shows they can run, but they can't hide from judgment. Let's go ahead and send them straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon!
W Zeus. To the people who are in the audience right now finding themselves extremely triggered by my content, again, I'm really not doing a lot of the talking. I'm just narrating the pieces. I'm connecting the dots. You really should be mad at your dear leader, all right? Because he's the one saying all these things, all right? For instance, if you don't like the way that I run my show, what do I always say? Leave my platform and go hang out with those other people or listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country,
MAGA.
if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right. So it's very, very simple. Jeff, you said this is a comedy. Jeff, I'm assuming you're a Trump supporter. And to all the Trump supporters that think what I do and how I get up here and give you all this information, for all of you who think that's funny, great, that's cool. But here's the thing, and this is something I've learned over the years. You want me to tell you it? Same thing make you laugh will make you cry. W Zeus. You gotta be careful. All right? Because you're going to laugh yourself straight to hell. W Zeus. And it's easy to do. All I do is just look at what Donald Trump is doing, and I go, wow, people really buy that stuff? I mean, it's incredible. Now, speaking of people buying that stuff, ladies and gentlemen, this is something I couldn't resist either. How many of you know who that knucklehead is, Mike Lindell? You know who Mike Lindell is, the My Pillow guy? So he had a little verdict yesterday. You know, you go into court and a verdict comes out and you got to live with it, right? And so we found out yesterday that there's consequences for Mike Lindell for promoting a bunch of lies and conspiracies about what happened in 2020. And so what we'll do is we'll get this on the record and then we'll get to judgment, all right? Please bear with me. It doesn't take long, all right? It's about 2 minutes.
And he's thrilled because while the MyPillow founder was ordered to pay $2.3 million to a Coloradan for claims that he and his voting system company rigged the 2020 election against President Trump, Lindell avoided a monster judgment, something 30 times larger what his opponents had requested. And he will sleep well tonight on a MyPillow, no doubt, because his beloved company was spared any financial judgment.
Hold on.
You think this lawfare against me and all this stuff is going to stop me? No.
Mike Lindell, defiant and loud, as usual, outside federal court in Denver after he was found liable of defamation but ducked a catastrophic financial penalty. Jurors imposed a $2.3 million judgment on Lindell and his company Frank Speech, no financial hit to MyPillow.
So there's a judgment of $2.3 million against MyPillow, all right, because that's the defamation. It could have been a lot higher, but we'll stick to the $2.3 million because most Trump supporters, they don't got the extra $2.3 million lying around. After you get over $1 million, you're pretty much done, all right? Right? Let's keep this going.
Do you have $2.3 million?
So, I don't have to have any money, which I don't. I'm millions of dollars in the hole. I think I told you that in the courtroom. Ooh. It's about $10 million net worth in the hole.
What Lindell has is pillow buying MAGA faithful supporting his business and donating to his defense fund on promises that he will at last reveal his long-awaited evidence of election rigging.
Oh.
You said to your supporters when you asked them for money paying your legal fees that at this trial we will reveal to the world the truth about our corrupt election platforms.
Oh.
Then you got inside and you said, actually, the trial's not about that. We're not going to put on evidence about the corrupt election platforms. This is about free speech. Here's my question. For all the folks that you've asked for money, who have given you money, when do they get to see your evidence in court as you promised them?
They've seen the evidence. We've had it posted, Kyle, and what the judge didn't let come out here. We're all in this to try and save the country. I've never done that before. I'm not a grifter. I'd be the worst grifter. You look up grifter, you ain't going to see me. I'm not good at it. I just spend it all.
Eric Coomer, the former Dominion Voting Systems executive who successfully sued Lindell for defamation, has similar suits against a bunch of other conservative figures who made election rigging claims about him and his former company.
So, once again, we've caught MAGA being manipulated, bamboozled, taken advantage of. You guys, MAGA, you have to be... I mean, clearly he's right.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
How could you continue to support somebody when you know that they're lying? And look at this. The same thing that happened to MyPillow is going to happen to each and every single one of you Trump supporters. Like I've been saying, you won't be woke, but you will be broke. And that's because you're worshiping a wicked person, Donald J. Trump, and you actually believe his lies. And so since you can't see it and we can, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we got to warm up that lake of fire. We got to send some folks. Somebody has to go to hell. And this is why I do this. Because you read the Bible and you look at it and they talk about the lake of fire and they say, and somebody has to go there. And I'm like this. It's not me. It's not you. It's not the Democrats. No, who's going to hell? MAGA, right? So let's go ahead and help them get there. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Let's send them straight to hell. And while you're on your way, you might as well go broke too.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
W. Zeus. Have I lied about have I lied about anything yet? I just want to make sure everyone understands what's going on here. Have I lied about anything yet, ladies and gentlemen? Have I lied about anything? Tara, right? You see that? No. I'm not lying about these things. These are things that are actually really happening. Donald Trump really, look at the all W to the chat. Thank you. Donald Trump really did go to the G7 meeting and embarrass us. He really did say all those nice things about Russia. He really did lie about which partner signed the trade deal. All right. MyPillow really does have a judgment against him. This is not make believe. This is real. It's real, MAGA. And like I said, same thing, make you laugh can make you cry. And as a matter of fact, I got a good example of that, if you don't mind. CBS, ladies and gentlemen, they just put this video, they put this report out, and this is titled Cuts to FEMA. How many people know what FEMA is? Anybody knows what FEMA is? All right. Storm Prep Program hammered communities that, guess what, voted for Donald Trump. So this is a story about communities that voted for Donald Trump, right? But now are being harmed by Donald Trump. And so when people say, Zeus and Kabira, you did a great job asking this. How do you talk to these people? It's because I'm a very, very, very patient person. I had to learn that growing up, right? Because you got brothers and sisters and they get in trouble first and you go, oh, okay, I'm gonna learn not to do it. So what I'm waiting to see, and this is where it's happening, is real life consequences for bad choices, right? Because we all know as adults, you make a choice, you got to live with the decision, all right? And you can't be wishy-washy. And so this is a scenario where Trump supporters are being harmed, but it's not because the Democrats are doing anything. They're being harmed because they went into that voting booth with their racist, misogynist behinds, and they checked off Donald Trump when they should have checked off Vice President Kamala Harris. And they can explain it until the cows come home. They could get blue in the face and talk about why they did it. Bottom line, I don't care. You made the wrong choice. And so when you make the wrong choice, there's got to be consequences. Yes, Nutty, I did say FEMA, and I know you work there, so this will be something you can help explain to these folks, because I try.
President Trump wants to eliminate FEMA and leave it to the states to respond to disasters. He's already eliminated one FEMA program the White House believes was wasteful.
That program gave vulnerable communities money for such projects as improving stormwater drainage and hardening their electric grids. A CBS News investigation found the cuts disproportionately affect areas that voted for Mr. Trump, including the small town of Central in Louisiana. This was the town of Central, Louisiana in August 2016. 24 inches of rain fell here over the course of 48 hours, flooded out and destroyed about 60% of its structures.
You can't imagine. Look out here and imagine covered in water.
Mayor Wade Evans gave us a tour. He and his family had to evacuate when floodwaters overtook his neighborhood 9 years ago.
Many people didn't have flood insurance. The despair in their eyes is what got me in politics.
That touched you?
I said that somebody's got to do a better job.
That opportunity came in July last year when Evans successfully secured a nearly $40 million FEMA grant to build a new flood control system.
The purple are houses or structures that are impacted positively by this project.
Without the federal funding, these areas will get flooded. It's not a matter of if, but when, yes?
Yes.
The money came from a program set up by the first Trump administration to shore up areas with high risk of storm damage. But in April, FEMA abruptly canceled the $5 billion program. Writing in a press release, it was wasteful and more concerned with political agendas than helping Americans.
I'm going to stop it right there and let that sink in. I see MAGA demons getting agitated. Don't live in flood zones. Wow, MAGA demon, that was the brightest thing I've ever heard you say. It's almost like MAGA demon believes Trump supporters are balling and swimming in a lot of cash, right? I talk to Trump supporters and MAGA demons. Some of them, they don't have the resources to move into the mansions, you know what I mean, in the, where the ivory towers and stuff like that. These are people who barely can make it, probably collecting Social Security. You know what I mean, MAGA demon? And you're telling them to don't live somewhere that, they can't afford. MAGA demon, have you lost it? But that just shows how heartless the MAGA demon is, right? And so to all of you Trump supporters, look at what's happening right now in Central Louisiana. And this is just one of thousands of places across the country. FEMA funds are being cut. And so when natural disasters strike, they call those things acts of God. You won't be getting any assistance from your dear leader. Your house gets flooded. Think about what goes down. I watched one of you Trump supporters, and they know who they are. I watched Trump supporters what happened during the Hurricane Helene. These folks were scared to death, terrified. Parts of me actually I had compassion, because you don't want to see people go through stuff like that. Their pianos get destroyed, their guitars, these are classic, all the stuff they've collected over the years, totally getting destroyed, washed up, cars destroyed, families running and then they turned around, beat up Joe Biden, even though Joe Biden was trying to help him. Kamala Harris was too. And went and voted for Donald Trump, only to get to this place right here where the very funding that y'all need in order to recover, your dear leader says, let me take that back from you. Y'all don't need that. Y'all better figure out how to survive, because, what I need is that same money to help me retrofit this new jet I got from Qatar. I need that same money to, get over on you in this other little thing I'm doing. You don't need the money. I need the money. And I don't care if you lose your life. That's how cold-blooded Donald Trump is to his own supporters. And so this is the world they're in right now. There's no help from Donald Trump. Don't look at me, Big Zeus. Absolutely not. And don't even look at the immigrants, because they're not going to want to come help you rebuild. Who's going to help you now? This is where I want MAGA, right here. This is the perfect place for MAGA right now. Isolated, right? Because divide you conquer. You isolate these folks and you make it real clear to them that they got to suffer. You got to get the whooping, right? And so the whooping's coming, all right?
Any person that flooded is shocked that it would be considered politics to do flood mitigation.
No, it's not.
What should it be considered?
It should be considered common sense. To me, it's a brilliant business decision.
In Louisiana alone, 34 grants totaling $185 million were eliminated. A CBS News investigation found Republican-leaning places, such as Central, are bearing the brunt of cuts. 2/3 of counties that have lost their funding chose President Trump over Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. Earlier this month, Evans went to Washington to lobby his lawmakers, but says he was told it's up to the White House to reinstate the funding. 80% of this community voted for the president.
Yes.
If you and anyone else in the community had a moment with him, what would you say to him?
I would tell him, Mr. President, it's time to put the bomb away and pull out the scalpel. And let's look at these projects for the merit of what they do, not politics.
What should I say? What should I say? We've argued with you until we were blue in the face, MAGA. We were trying to help you understand this is what would happen. We know you don't understand how the government works. We know you don't have any clue what it takes for an organization to actually qualify for these grant funds. And so to see and hear you folks, especially on this app, run around here and say it's waste, fraud, and abuse was flat out embarrassing. Because I'm sitting here saying to myself, how they gonna cut their own water off? But now judgment is upon thee, and we must get to it. So I'm gonna send all of you Trump supporters where y'all belong, and that's straight to hell, because you know you brought this evil and wickedness all on yourselves, and the reason you did is because you saw the truth and you chose to ignore it. Why? Because of the hatred in your hearts. Yes, you went to church, your pastors lied to you, right? And told you supporting Donald Trump was the godly thing to do. Well, guess what you just found out today? It wasn't godly, it was the work of the devil. And unfortunately, you got a first-class trip where? Straight to hell!
Silence, you MAGA demon.
And I'll just get this thank you. And I'll just get this on the record, okay? Because there's so many things that I can do, but then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to open up the box and hear from, everyday Americans, right? Because that's what I do. I give you the dose, but then I want to hear what others say is going on out there. This is just another quick update about his so-called big, beautiful bill. Rick. This is just another quick update about Donald Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill. And these are just the poll numbers.
Where is support for this mega bill?
You know, I'm really surprised when I look at polling data. I look at it every day. But the amount of disapproval for this bill, holy cow, my goodness gracious. And you know, you mentioned the KFF poll. We're talking about 29 points underwater on the net favorable rating. But that matches the Quinnipiac University poll from last week when it was 26 points underwater. Oh my God, you need Greg Louganis to get that far underwater. And I mean, we're talking about a negative 41 net favorability rating among independents in the center of the electorate. You rarely ever see pieces of legislation or proposed pieces of legislation as unpopular as this. But here you see it in two polls, 26 points underwater and 29 points underwater.
So the big, beautiful bill is nothing but some big old nasty trash. And everyone on the earth sees that this bill is terrible. The only people that think this bill is somehow a good bill at this point, because we've debated this so many times. Am I right, Val? I don't know if you're here, Val. We've covered this big, nasty thing so many times on my show that if you still believe it's a good thing, you know what? Like I said, you're going to end up like that MyPillow guy, all right? And you're going to end up like these folks out there in Louisiana, central Louisiana, and all across the country with your head in the sand and your butts in the air, getting screwed over by guess who? Donald J. Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, one last time, let's send these Trump supporters where they came from. Straight to
Silence, you MAGA demon.
All right, let's go to the audience because I'm looking at the time, and we want to get out of here on time like we always do. Am I right, Mrs. Silk? Nice to see you. All right, so what I want to do is try to bring people up, that are willing to come up here and be respectful. W. Kabira, and engage, and let's have the conversation. All right, I get it. We all believe what we believe politics wise, but I truly do enjoy unpacking what's going on up here, especially with MAGA, because it's their hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to get them. That keeps them in the situation that they're stuck in, all right? And MAGA knows it. MAGA knows it. All right, good morning, Brother Nutty. How are you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. And you?
Doing well. So
good.
The only reason I even requested today, because I was just going to sit and listen, is because in your monologue there, you brought up the small town of central Louisiana.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
What's that?
I went to my portal and I looked up past deployments. I was actually deployed there. That's a Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's a parish of Baton Rouge. And that was one of my territories. Back in 2021 during Hurricane Ida. Central Louisiana is a small town. So this town is under like 30,000 people. That's just where I'm from. That's considered a small town. I know it's a big town for a lot of people, but it's a small town. It's a very poor town. It's a very poor town. The average, according to the statistical data that I have in my file here, the average income there in Louisiana at whole is probably around $40,000.
Okay, so MAGA Demon in the comment section, he made a disgusting remark, but I guess it's not disgusting considering it was aimed at MAGA, but he said they should get out of the flood zones then. They need to pack up their belongings and move somewhere else.
This is what I really hate. Mm-hmm. I hate it when they say, well, they should do this, they should do that, they should do this. When we say an act of God can strike anywhere. Global warming is a real thing, y'all.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. For the first time in history, we had a hurricane last year reach up into the mountains.
Wow.
Like, when does that happen?
In the mountains? A hurricane? That's double damage right there. I mean, could you imagine being on a cliff with a hurricane? I mean, my Lord.
So that's, Zeus, when
that's
you heard
crazy.
About the crap going on during the election,
when
Donald Trump was spewing the crap that he was spewing about FEMA.
Yeah.
And because I would get online on the live here and I would, share certain things with you all. So, when I was there, and I was told to stand down when I was out there in the field. I was in North Carolina.
These are real stories.
In Appalachia, Eastern Tennessee. Wow. I was there. We've never been that deep inland when it comes to a hurricane, that is. Now, floods, of course.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a hurricane, having the ramifications of a hurricane, flooding those people out, landslides, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So when you say they can just leave and not live in a flood zone, it shows how ignorant you are.
Something's wrong.
And not everybody, you may have two nickels to rub together, but not everyone has two nickels to rub together. The fact that you would even make a statement or a comment like that, MAGA Demon, you're living true to your name. You are a demon. Because you lack.
He is a demon.
You lack empathy. You lack sympathy. You just lack you lack a moral compass for other human beings if they are outside your realm.
That's a powerful.
But yet you want to sit on these lives and you want to cosplay as a billionaire because you want to feel close to the orange tangerine. How dare you?
Yeah.
This nation is becoming more disgusting by the minute. Having this man being in the White House, it is. Listen, I'm trying to contain myself because
you're doing a good job.
I don't need another chastising from Zeus. But when you continue going down this path, look what happened in Minnesota.
Wow.
Look what's happening all over our land. I posted a video this morning of ICE ripping a 3-year-old away from its mom. And I don't care what your legal status is. But as a parent, it tore me. It tore me.
Yeah.
Because let me put it this way. You try to rip my child from me, Malcolm X. Now, y'all, again, I'm going to use the same terminology I did last week. You take that for whichever way you want it. But all I'm going to say is Malcolm X. And if you knew who Malcolm X was, you will get the reference. You're not going to take my child.
What? Hold on. Okay, so you brought up something very important. What do you say? Because I've watched these videos of these ICE raids. There's something going on, Nutty, and maybe you can help unpack it. You know, videos are saying black folks are sitting this one out, and then I've actually seen a video where Latinos who voted for Donald Trump are now saying we understand why black folks are sitting this out because we knew this is wrong. But there's something out there that Trump tapped into about this, right? If you know what I'm saying, do I need to go deeper?
So, no, you don't. If I'm reading what you're saying,
yeah.
The reason why Donald Trump, in my opinion, this is just purely my opinion. The reason why Donald Trump got so much of the Hispanic or Latino vote,
yeah,
is because of their proximity to whiteness. He was able to pull the okie doke over their eyes and made them feel. And see, this is why we can't vote based on a feeling. He made them feel that they had the proximity. It was the proximity, Zeus. It was the othering. Well, at least you're not them. It was the othering, making them feel like, oh, you care about me. Look what's going on with the Cubans down in Florida.
Yeah, what's happening with them?
They're getting their nasty behinds deported.
But remember that song, and I've played it. And has anyone seen Asler? We will vote for Donald Trump. Remember that song?
Absolutely. The self-proclaimed founder of what was it? Latinos for Trump down in Miami. He's in ICE custody right now.
Get out of here.
Yes. The founder of the organization Latinos for Trump down in Miami. He is in ICE custody as we speak.
That's so. I got to do a lake of fire for it. What's his name? Let me look him up real quick.
Yeah, I gotta look.
When you find his name, ladies and gentlemen, put it in the chat, and I'll do the lake of fire because this goes back to what I was saying about the people in Central Louisiana. You went into that voting booth and you checked off Donald Trump. There has to be consequences. I mean, I'm glad you're waking up and realizing you made the wrong decision, but unfortunately, the consequences need to be, dealt with. And this is what you're dealing with. You went out there and you voted for this?
And one more thing, people say
I just can't believe we live in a country where people are that ignorant.
Well, people are calling me hateful because there's a woman on TikTok here. She's a Latina, married to a white man.
Oh.
She voted for Donald Trump.
Oh.
Her father is terminally ill. Her father has been detained by ICE.
Oh.
He's terminally ill. And she's crying. She's crying on TikTok.
No, say she ain't crying.
Because she sees the error of her ways. No. But I don't feel sorry for you. Because why is it? You know, my grandmama used to say, you don't believe fat meat is what?
Greasy.
And a hard head makes a what?
Soft booty.
See, so these euphemisms that we grew up hearing from our grandparents, we didn't understand it when we were kids, Zeus, did we?
No.
We just thought, what the heck are y'all saying?
Yeah, just stop.
Isn't it funny how, and ironic, how we're understanding it more and more as we get older?
Mama was right, daddy's right. Yeah.
Crying, and she actually filmed herself on TikTok when she was appearing in court via phone.
Don't do that.
Appearing in immigration court. Asking, begging for compassion. Talking about the flag.
No, she
talking
didn't.
about
She didn't do that, Nutty. Come on now.
Come
on.
It's Zeus. I go read
she
the
didn't
comments.
I gotta check this
You know
out.
what? Who is it? Who is it?
Attacking usually has stuff like this. I don't know. I need this. Anybody that has that.
I think it was Kabira that tagged me in it. So I'm not sure, but I think it was.
Okay. I know that video. Then this is the same one. I didn't see all of them. So I didn't see her in the facility crying, but it's
no. She appeared in court via phone.
Oh wow.
She's sitting in her home, but she was on the phone and she had it on speaker, and she was talking about liberty and justice, and I'm like, wait, what?
No.
Like, you're crying now because it has touched your doorstep. If it had never touched your doorstep, you would have been still saying, yay, Trump. I agree with what Trump is doing. He's doing against your people, but you didn't care until it hit your door. It make sense.
Where were these Latinos? Let me ask an honest question. Do we have any Latinos for Trump sitting out there? Because I just want to know, what country have you been living in? Like, wasn't this something you went to school in high school and you learned that this is how America is? Like, how did you overlook this? I'm concerned. Are these schools really teaching?
Now, Zeus, permit me to say this, please. I hope and pray for the healing of her father.
Yeah.
I don't wish that on him. But if he voted for Donald Trump too, well, obviously he couldn't, because that's why he's in. Well, I don't know if because they're pulling everybody. But if let me put it this way: if he supported Donald Trump, then screw him too.
If he was singing that song, in other words.
Yeah. Because Donald Trump, I'm not going to blame Donald Trump for this one, because he was very clear to his intentions. Did he or did he not tell everybody what his intentions were?
He did. He said it so clear, crystal clear. I thought, and I said, it's obvious this is a bad idea. But their minds, Nutty, they said, oh, he only means the bad ones. And
you know what? That's the one thing he didn't do. He told you what he meant, and he let these fools turn themselves into pretzels trying to figure out, well, did he mean it this way or did he mean it this way? He was very clear in his speech. This is what I'm going to do. Because people coming from Mexico, they're grapists, they're murderers. You remember that? You remember that, y'all? Coming down the little escalator. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. And now we have it.
He told y'all he was going to deport you. But where you fell for the okie doke is that you only heard, oh, he only said he's going for the criminals. What, is a 3-year-old a criminal? I ask you.
Not to me and you, Nutty, but to Donald Trump, yes, they are.
Well, their parents shouldn't have brought them over here illegally. First of all, crossing the border without papers, it is not an illegal act. It is a misdemeanor. A simple misdemeanor. It is a civil infraction.
You hear this?
Now, if you get caught and you get deported and then you come back over without papers, that's when it becomes illegal.
Yeah. And they can't have an issue with a little misdemeanor, because when you turned around and voted for somebody with 34 felonies, you took that argument right off the table.
For sure.
You just can't even bring that up.
For sure.
At least around me, anytime I'm talking to a Trump supporter and they say that, I just sit back and I go, listen, I'm not even entertaining that foolishness, because I'm not going to get into this whether or not those felonies stuck and how it was. No. It is what it is. So you took that argument and you did that. And they wear the shirt that says, yes, I voted for a convicted felon. Proudly.
Well, you know, at this point, Zeus, my empathy, it only goes so far.
Yeah.
I cannot continue exerting my breath and my anxiety over people who vote, and this is just not for Latinos and Latinas. Anybody, including Blaga. People who vote against their own interests, you all are getting what you voted for, and I want you to sit in it. I want you to marinate in it, and I want you to go straight to hell.
All right, W Nutty. Straight to hell. I agree. No lies detected. All right, brother. Well, thank you so much. All right.
Have a good day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. W Nutty. See, no lies detected. No lies detected. All right. Do we have any Trump supporters still left out there, or have we cleansed this live of all Trump supporters? Remember that guy Jeff? He was laughing earlier. I don't think Jeff is laughing today. What we're saying is really happening. Yeah, Blaga, you're on the next. Blaga, to be honest, you're on the list next. While you're sitting back thinking, "Oh, what's happening to the Latinos? Ha ha ha! That's not going to hurt me." Eventually, this is going to end up swinging your direction, and your dear leader is going to do exactly what he's done to everybody, from Mike Lindell to Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, all those folks, all the way down. You're going to get yours, W. Zeus. I can't invite TikTok. They don't have enough followers or something. All right, let me bring up my good friend brother Val. Welcome, Val. How are you doing today?
How's it going, sir?
It's going pretty good. Yeah, it's going good. I think we have these people out here that support Donald Trump. They're on the ropes right now. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, actually, the rope's broken. They've fallen out of the ring. But the thing is this: people need to start paying attention to the damage that's being done by the man that's in the White House right now. These things are starting to have very real economic consequences. Okay, I mean, right now, if anybody watched the unemployment deal a week ago. In 1 week's time, 250,000 Americans filed for unemployment.
When?
That was 2 weeks ago.
What
Okay.
the heck?
250,000 applied for unemployment. The largest number in a very, very long time. And these are the economic factors that are hard, coming in place. People that work in businesses and stuff businesses, and I'm seeing another new trend. We now have companies that are owned, cross country. In other words, part in America, part in Canada, part in Mexico, part in the U.S. Saying that we now have companies now that are trying to sell off their American interest. This is also going to hurt the U.S. economy in a big way. And and then the deportations. I don't think you truly understand how much that hurts the Americans.
So the deportations. I talk to a lot of people, Val, and they think what Trump is doing is necessary because a lot of people have been denied opportunities because of immigrants, right? And so what you're suggesting is there an economic impact for these?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because here's what Americans won't do. For any period or long period of time or with any kind of speed. See this, you know what I'm saying? This is the thing that y'all also don't think about. Americans aren't climbing on roofs, putting roofs on houses. Okay? And if they do, it takes them a week to do what immigrants do in a day. Okay, these are the things they don't understand. They don't have the work ethic, and I'm sorry to say it. If you don't like hearing it, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. You've got to have the work ethic, and I don't know why y'all insist on they're taking jobs. It'd be different if they were taking, computer jobs, or if they were taking high end jobs, or at home work jobs where people, where people make a lot of their money right now.
Yeah.
It'd be different. That's not the case.
Mm.
I mean, if you want to yell about IT jobs being taken, you're going the wrong direction.
Somebody said that's false in the chat.
Oh no. It is.
Rowdy. Why would you say that that's false, Rowdy?
Yeah, Rowdy.
Val doesn't have to volunteer his time every day like I do to, tell the truth like we're doing. We're trying to save this country. And you all are getting in the way. You don't know what the heck you're doing. Sorry, Val.
Yeah, but they don't understand the economic. It's already starting to feel it. People in Texas are already starting to lose crews. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have anybody to do it. They're losing jobs. They're having to push jobs out for months and months and months that need to be done right now, but they can't because they don't have the people. This is what we told y'all was going to happen at the beginning, and this is going to end up putting small contractors out of business. Small, you know what I'm saying? These are small businesses that rely on labor. Now, not labor. See, y'all like to say it's illegal. It's not. If people come over here and they get a work visa and they work their way to citizenship, that's just part of it. A lot of these contractors and people help.
Yeah,
I've worked for companies that actually help people when they come over to get them down the right path and make sure that they're doing all their stuff and to get them down, to what they need to do to become a U.S. citizen and become a working member and tax-paying member of this community.
Yeah.
When these happens, and that's the other thing that's going to be lost, tax revenue, right? You're going to lose tax revenue because of this. These are all proven factors that you can go look at any economic person. Just go look up economics on immigrants. Just go look it up. Just type in those words, economics on immigrants. And
do immigrants contribute to this economy, Val? Because there's a narrative that they just go and sit in our hospitals and drain our resources, and they take it away from Brad and Chad and those guys.
They're a net positive of almost $1 billion a year.
Bingo.
Okay, so that's y'all can fight that all you want to, but those are real numbers. That they're expected to add. As things were going, they were expected to add, I think it was damn near a little over almost $10 trillion over the next 10 years.
Skywalker Daddy, come up here, send me a guest request, because you can't be telling Val and I that we're wrong and polluting the chat the way that you are. And that's why the box is open for anyone that's disagreeing with what we're saying. This isn't about us scoring points, more so than it is about shocking folks like yourself out of the cult that you've gotten yourselves into, because you're basically sending us off of a cliff. You're leading this country into a 1929 style depression, one like we've never seen before, all right? So send a guest request or zip it.
Yeah, the historical data on this doesn't lie. You just heard that man in a speech a minute ago. I talk tariffs. I mean, the person from Canada. I don't know who Mark is. We still haven't figured that out. But the person from Canada that says he has a different plan and he wants to do it, but it sounds like a good plan, but it's complex.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what Donald Trump saying complex means. Complex means he doesn't understand. This is a man that went to the G7, left early, claimed that Russia was thrown out because Russia was thrown out. We all know why Russia was thrown out. Because they were charged with international crimes.
Bingo.
On what they were doing. This man's crazy promoting Russia to come back to the G7. If Russia wants to come back to the G7, get out of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Get out of Ukraine, come to the table, and let's come to a real agreement. That's what the G7 then would be the G8 is for. Okay? That's where we make agreements like this and talk out these things. But we've got a man in office that can't sit there and talk these things out. He doesn't know.
Do you think the conflict in Iran, I see people in the chat saying no new wars. thoughts on that? The situation in Iran. Are you following that? Does it seem like we're heading towards peace? And does it seem like he's putting America first? What are your
So
thoughts?
little. I mean, here's the truth. We know what's happened with Israel. You know what I'm saying? Firing on
Yeah.
Iran. We know, you know what I'm saying? We've gotten information. I don't know how true it is. You know what I'm saying? Netanyahu threw Trump under the bus and said the U.S. is definitely involved. So we don't know. We don't know how true it is. Here's where I'm at with Iran right now. Until I have a little bit more information, we're really kind of in the dark on this. Okay. Do I believe that the U.S. is involved with the relationship with Netanyahu and Trump? Absolutely.
Wow.
But I don't want to call it out until we have some
Fair
absolute
enough.
proof.
Fair enough. That's the most responsible thing to do. W Val, because that's what being responsible. All right. When you're on the internet, you got to be cautious in terms of tipping your hand and saying things that can get people excited. But I'll say this: I don't like. Can I say there's things that I don't like? I don't like the fact that he went on his platform and basically told the folks in Tehran they need to evacuate immediately. Because there's like what 15 million people there. And could you imagine being in that situation, and you hear the president of the United States say something like that? It's almost like, what the heck is about to happen?
Right. And I look at indicators. What China did with Israel is telling. Okay. China has informed all of its citizens in Israel need to leave now.
Wow.
That wasn't in a week. It wasn't in a couple days. Now.
Wow.
And when you deal with these types of things, people look at it and they just say Iran. In the end of this, people, it will not be just Iran. If this kind of thing starts, it will not just be Iran.
You don't think so?
No, it will pull Syria in. It will pull other Arab nations in to try to defend Iran. That's how this works. It's how it's always worked.
You hear this? Well, I mean, and so to me, that's why I'm very, very like, what has just happened? Because this is the guy that said no new wars broke out while he was president, right? That's his claim to fame. And they would have never done it if he were president. And whether it's the conflict with Russia or now with Iran, you're sitting there going, who still believes this guy is a strong man?
He's not. And for whoever wrote down in the comments, God will protect Israel. Guys, it's we protect Israel. This is what you don't understand. By our agreements from the 1940s to now, we protect Israel. I stand with the Israeli people. It's not them, it's their government that is out of control, just like our government is out of control.
Wow.
Okay. This is not negotiations. I hadn't heard of anything from Iran over the last, since they had the whole little missile fight back and forth a few months ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I haven't heard anything from Iran, and everybody, it seemed like it kind of, calmed down. This is when you create negotiations. But Iran has come out and said, so if Netanyahu goes to form that I will talk to the U.S., Iran's going to be out, and this is why. Iran came out, their leadership came out 3 months ago and said, we will not work with the U.S. We cannot trust them. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, they're not wrong in saying that.
Right.
Okay. When he broke the nuclear deal, you know what I'm saying? And then put oil sanctions on him and everything that he did at that time. When he broke that nuclear deal and put those sanctions on, he eroded trust. This is a country that we used to be able to actually go into and check if they actually had, just like we did with Iraq. Okay? Now we can't do that no more. Now we have no clue what they're doing.
I'm disappointed. This is sad.
Yeah, this is how you lose control of a situation. And it's done by somebody that has no foreign policy experience. And this is what you put in office. And this is what you create. So you're the maker. Everybody that voted for this man and voted for the people that he put in these offices, Could he have put somebody in office that would have explained to him and understood? Yes, he could have. But no, he chose not to. He chose to put idiots in the places where real education is needed.
You hear this,
And
man?
that is going to affect all Americans. Not just one half, not just one group. It will affect all Americans.
You. And that includes MAGA, correct? Because they don't think
It
they're-
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. There's nobody immune from what he's doing.
Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. W Val. All right, brother. We're gonna move it on, but listen. As always, I appreciate you, sharing your knowledge and your wisdom with all of us. All right, because that's what's really needed at times like this. These people need to wake up seriously. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, show Val some love. W's in the chat. No lies detected. Oh, yes. All righty then, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's see. Do we have any Trump supporters out there? Because I'm talking to the mutuals, and I don't mind talking to anyone, really. But are there any real Trump supporters out there that are starting to realize that perhaps you've made a serious, terrible decision? Put a 1 in the chat or send me a guest request. And what I'll do is we'll get you up here and we'll get to the bottom of what's really going on. All right, W. Sharon. Yes. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a Trump supporter. Where are they at? Let's see. It's amazing. We have a pretty decent sized group here. Oh, okay. 34 cyanide yummy. Come on up here if you don't mind. Oh, somebody wrote you never talked to me. Oh, wait a second. Okay, there you go, mods. Get them. Bring them up here. Kind Human, come on up here. Come on up here, Kind Human. I just sent you a guest request. If you say stuff like that, it's an offer I can't refuse. Good morning. Thank you, Hawk, for doing that. Kind Human, I'm trying to patch you through, and your connection isn't really that great. Are you there? Kind Human.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can.
Human. Can you hear me? Yes, I can. Can you hear me? This is huge.
I can.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me? Lord have mercy. Kind Human. What I'm going to do, Kind Human, is I disconnected you. W Motive mics. Kind Human. Send me a guest request so I can re-invite you. But before you do that, close out of the app and then come on back, all right? Let's see if that'll work, all right? Because the connection was so bad. I was like, where are you connecting from? And make sure you get on some Wi-Fi. All right, do we have any other Trump supporters while Kind Human? He said, Zeus, you don't talk to me. All right, fair enough. Come on up here. Do we have any other Trump supporters out there? Please place a 1 in the chat. And we'll try to bring you up here. All right. Seriously. All right. All right. Where did Kind Human go? Put a 1 in the chat if you are a Trump supporter. All right. Hold on. Who's this? Elon Musk. That's an interesting name. Good morning. Oh, they dropped. That was a good idea. All right. W Zeus. Easy to do. All right. Davey. All right, who is it? All right, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you are Davey. He's here, and she talked to his mom. Okay, hold on. Okay, fair enough. This is good call. Good morning, Davey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I am all right. Welcome back to the show. I didn't think I would see you so fast.
It took me a while just because I think right before our last call is right before I started working, so I've just been constantly busy.
Okay. All right. So for those folks out there, Davey, you voted for Trump, but you regret your vote. You and I, we had a pretty good conversation. And I believe the last time we checked in, we drilled down pretty deep, and it was a situation where you were going to have to check in with your parents a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And you have updates to share with us?
I brought it up with my mom, and she was a little shocked. She was like, why? And I just said kind of like the deportations and everything. And again, for those, like my mom is like Republican, but she's not like full on MAGA. She voted for Trump, but she's not like full on MAGA. She knows when to admit that he's wrong. So I brought it up, and I told her why, and like she just was kind of like, oh, a little bit bothered, but not like upset or like anything. And then like last weekend, or no, this was last night. This was last night. I was working on homework, and she comes up to me and she goes, Davey, she goes, she says, they're deporting legal immigrants. I go, yes, Mom, I do. I go, thinking like, why do you why do you think I'm against what he's doing? I go, like, it's not just.
Wait a second. Did she say they're deporting illegal immigrants or legal immigrants?
I don't legal immigrants, legal. And I go, yeah, Mom. I go, I know. I go.
So
I've seen.
Was she expressing was she acting shocked? Is that what you're trying to say? She was shocked that's what Trump is doing?
She was acting shocked, or like more of like, what the heck are they doing?
That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, Mom.
So what is she? Is she? Because she's been a Republican all her life.
Yeah.
And you're letting her know we need to go a different direction. Where is she at now, if you don't mind? Is she at a place where she's willing to admit that this was something very bad she did by supporting Donald Trump?
I haven't fully asked her yet, because like we brought it up, and then like, kind of life went on. Then she brought it up last night. She was like, oh, like, I can't believe they are deporting legal immigrants. And I was like,
yeah.
I was like, yeah.
So did she say, after she said that to you, did she say anything like this? I am disgusted, and I can't believe I supported such a man. Did she say anything like that?
She didn't say anything, but I think it was more of just because of like, kind of like shock, or just more of like disbelief. Not like she was like, oh, I don't believe I believe that that's, she never said anything about like, oh, I believe that's like left-wing media.
Okay.
I think she was just in shock.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Okay. So this to me, Davey, I'm starting to have a visual of how this might have looked. She might be doing this to get a reaction out of you, to see how you respond, right? I mean, but we got to monitor this situation a little bit more, because what we're looking for is some sort of acknowledgement that this situation, the immigration issue, is really just the tip of the iceberg of things that honestly she should be shocked about. Did you explore the whole criminal thing and the stuff he's done that's inappropriate with her and stuff like that yet? Because
no, not
because as I'm in my 40s, early 40s, right? When I think about like as you get older in life, there's a lot of things that should already be understood, right?
Yeah.
And so when you talk to people, especially folks that are older, you kind of assume they should know this. And anything outside of already knowing this, to me, screams we got a huge issue. So even though she said that, I can't help but wonder, like, lady, I mean, and this is your mom, so I got to be nice, but I'm thinking to myself, like, if this wasn't your mom, I'd probably be like, you didn't know that? You know what I mean? Because this is obvious for a lot of us. This is obvious what Trump is doing. It's like, what is it going to take for you to see him for who he really is? You know?
Yeah.
But I think it's big, honestly, that you were able to, at least you're chiseling away at that armor.
And I think she was just more of like, oh my gosh, it was just more of like shock and probably a little bit disbelief, not like, and yeah, it wasn't anything like, oh, those are just lies from the left-wing media.
And she didn't bring that up, though. Has she ever said anything like that before, though?
In the past? Not really. She's not really like, oh, all the media is corrupt and all that, or like, oh, you're just listening to CNN.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Your father, have you checked in with him?
I mean, I've kind of brought it up, but like not.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
Really.
Would you say between him and your mom, who's more loyal to Trump? If you were to have to, place a bet, who would you say is more loyal to
Trump? Likes Trump more? My dad. But yeah, I would say my dad, but it's not like, I mean, yeah, he just listens to Fox News, but that's about it.
There you go. So that's you got to go into the lion's den at some point, Davey. But I got to say, I'm impressed you did it so fast. But where I see this is going to get real tricky is you're dealing with your father's house. It's his house. You got to be respectful. But somewhere along the lines, it has to be addressed. Hey, why are we supporting him? In a way you can do it that doesn't get you compromised, because you're clearly behind. I call it you're behind enemy lines. But don't let this dissuade you or anything like that. You got to keep up the good fight and keep believing in the truth and standing on facts and ignoring and dismissing the misinformation and the disinformation.
Yeah, and no, I appreciate, and I genuinely don't even know why I'm scared, because I could come out and be like a full blown disagree with the entire Republican Party, and my parents, they wouldn't disown me, they wouldn't kick me out of the house, they would still treat me the exact same, which is, again, I don't know why I'm a little nervous to tell them, because if I did, they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry I'm sorry you have different beliefs, or I know you have different beliefs, but that would be about it. They would still love me the exact.
Well, they better, but I would say this.
My parents aren't like that.
Yeah. They better be, because, then we would have a different situation. But I would say this, because you don't want to just go from one extreme to the next, because that's going to be very, very dangerous. But as you continue down this journey, I do think it's very important to make sure, number one, you firm up your understanding about a lot of the things that are going on both sides, before, because, you'll go this way. And if you don't have enough foundation to draw from, then you're going to end up going back that way. Right. And so that's my concern. And so keep up in terms of studying, but I think that where you're at with your parents, it's going to have to be a lot of difficult conversations, especially with your father watching Fox News all day. Hey, why is this still on? You got to be able to have those conversations. Why do you watch so much Fox? Yeah. Go through some of the things that he believes very seriously and ask him, is this really what you believe? And one of the best places to start, honestly, is January 6th. All right? Because that'll tell you everything that's going on in their heads, right? Yeah. If they can't be honest about what happened on January 6th, then this means, it's a strong force, and you got to keep, doing other things to work with them. All right?
Yeah, no, I get that. And it's just, and it's just a new thing that's arising is I know you were talking about it with Val, the Israeli-Iranian, conflict, and that's just that's kind of worrisome, and it's kind of now I haven't studied much. I don't know too much to claim any information on my own about the Middle East. But do you think Trump is responsible for what happened? And if so,
with Iran?
Yeah.
Well, Val brought it up, right? The nuclear deal that he basically destroyed, right? And so when you throw that in there, and then you layer that in with Donald Trump's inability to be honest, he's not trustworthy, right? And he's not really strategic, right? I think really whoever's talking to him, he'll agree with. I think it shows that he's clearly reckless. And then you look at the people he's picked, right? That's surrounding him. These people are incompetent. So 110% his fault. As the sitting president of the United States, there's no way I would sit here and tell you a sitting president of the United States isn't playing a role in this. There's just no way that would be possible. So it is his fault, and it didn't happen under Joe Biden. You know how this works. You know how this works.
Oh yeah.
It happened under him.
And it was more of the whole no new wars, because I was I don't think anyone, I don't care what political side you are of the aisle, what side you are of the political spectrum, I don't think anyone wants wars, because it's wars lead to pain.
Well, there are folks who do want wars, all right? You got them they're in the Republican Party especially, the hawks, they call them the hawks, the neocon. They love that stuff. And so this is what we're dealing with right now. we got two, and actually within the party, there's division, right? There's a group of folks who think America first means isolationism, and then there's a group of folks who believe America first means being pro-Israel. And this is the split that's going, and they're going to have to deal with it because Trump is trying to play both sides. And you know how I think, you can't play both sides. You got to stand for something. And unfortunately, MAGA is about to find out the very hard way that their dear leader, he doesn't care about either side. All he cares about is himself. And this is what they're going to see happening in real time. You know, but it is what it is, all right? Now, Davey, I got to move it on, all right, bro?
All right.
But it's a pleasure checking in with you, all right? As always, ladies and gentlemen, W. Davey. This is somebody that's trying to do the right thing, and I got to work with him. All right? I seriously do. There you go. There you go. All righty then. All right. Do we have any Trump supporters out there in the audience? Please send Big Zeus a guest request, and we'll bring you right on up here. If you're a Trump supporter, please put a 1 in the chat. We'll bring you right on up here. Good morning, Santana.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you, champ?
Listen. I am as good as we can all be in our current situation, right?
Talk to him. Yeah.
Right. I kind of wanted to say congratulations to Davey. Right. I don't know if you remember, but I spoke with him last time and I was like, hey, go back and do the work. And it
Yeah,
sounds
you
like he's
did. I
doing just
remember
that.
that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Listen, I mean, Zeus, that's the type of stuff that we need, though. Like, the serious conversation. We need people because just saying that, I messed up, that's not enough, right? You have to actually be willing to, do the hard things and actually fight for our
Yeah.
country because that's what it's going to take. And I'm proud of him. Like, to hear him say that, that's like absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And that's what I'm looking for mainly on when I do what I do. You see, I dial it back and I try to really explore what's happening because I don't want people coming up here and trying to pretend and get sympathy and stuff like that. I've seen that happen too, but it's nice to know that there are regular folks out here, Americans, that see what's happening and are trying to get back on the right path. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Goose, I think it's funny. I know you and I haven't spoken since this past weekend with the whole No Kings protest.
Oh yeah.
But I was out and I got an opportunity to not only feel that environment, but feel the energy from people who really meant like they were done, right? They're over it. And not only people that didn't vote for Donald Trump, but people that didn't vote. And again, like, I've been preaching that over and over and over. Like, those are the people that we need to reach. Those are the people that need to, the most important to us. But the actual energy that was around that and the amount of people that showed up spoke like major. It was just massive for me. And I think we have to figure out a way to actually continue to ride that wave and move it forward because I mean, Zeus, we see what this president is doing. We see what this administration is doing. Like, they're specifically targeting different ways to be hateful, right? Whether you talk about their
Yeah.
approach with deportation, or Zeus, you can talk about the 36 black countries that they are discussing adding to the travel ban, right?
Wow.
I mean, they are not only looking to be harmful, but they're looking to be hateful at every turn.
Isn't that impressive, right? I mean, is there a bottom to the hate that they have? It just seems like every time you turn on the TV, like right now, or not now, but they want to attack Democrat cities. You saw Trump post this, right? And it seems like he's reversed the exemption on the ICE raids, right? First he said we're going to stop going into hospitality, agricultural areas, right? But then now all of a sudden it's back on. What do you think of that?
Well, Zeus, I think that this president, this administration is inept, right? I mean, they can't do anything right. And even if you take a look at the rate that they are actually going through deportation, they're deporting at a lower rate than the Biden administration, while making a big show about it. And the reason why they're doing that is because they're not actually doing Zeus.
They're under Biden's numbers.
Yes,
Wow.
they are. Zeus, when you don't have substance, you have to put on a show, right?
Bingo.
Like when you can't actually do the things, you have to talk real loud
Yeah.
when you don't actually walk the walk, and that's exactly what's happening. And so Donald Trump, he understood that like them saying that they wanted to have 3,000 deportations a day was like wicked work.
Yeah.
And that's why they started targeting churches and schools and court hearings, because they knew for a fact that there was no way to actually logically hit that number with the way they were doing things.
Yeah.
And even more so, Zeus, they've had to walk it back because they understand it. And I hate to say it like this because
You gotta say it.
well, there's a human element that I think a lot of people miss when we start talking about like undocumented immigrants, right?
Yeah.
Because the easiest thing to say is, oh, undocumented immigrants, they prop up these different sectors within our country, right? The service sector, the construction, the farming industry, all of these things.
Yeah.
But these are actual people that are like fighting for their lives, that want a better life, and so we don't want to lose sight of that. Right. The reason why they're here, the reason why they're willing to do the things that they're doing is because they're trying to make a better life for them and their families. So we
Amen.
never want to forget that.
Right.
But with that being said, Donald Trump, someone finally got in his ears and said, like, hey, the people that we're deporting when it comes to like the farms,
Yeah.
ooh, that's going to cause a food shortage. The people that we're deporting when it comes to like the service industry, ooh, you're not going to have staff in Mar-a-Lago. Like,
So if they're really, so he's realizing through all of these people that are surrounding him, which is funny that they surround him, that there's negative consequences to what he's doing, even though he's bragging about how he's deporting all these people. There's actually a downside to this. You hear that, Marsha? You hear what Santana is saying? W. Santana.
Yeah. Well, Zeus, I mean, we understand. Like any
not
person,
TDS.
You know what's funny, man, and I've been sitting on this for a while, and I have to make this video. There is TDS, Zeus, but TDS isn't what MAGA thinks, right?
Talk to
TDS directly goes to Trump supporters, right?
Mm.
If you are willing to drape yourself in Trump paraphernalia from head to toe, if you are willing to make any type of concession to defend this person,
Yeah.
if you are willing to buy whatever this person comes out, whether it's Trump steak knives, board game, Trump mobile.
Oh, the cell phone. You brought the cell phones up.
Listen.
So he's selling those cell phones, huh? Is that real?
Yeah. They launched it yesterday. I saw Eric, that's the Unforgettable Son. I saw him talking about it. They are saying that they are looking to correct the cell phone industry.
Are they being made in factories with Trump supporters running these factories with their hands assembling the devices? Where are these cell phones assembled, if you don't mind?
We will see. Now, they say that it's going to be made in quote unquote America, but the thought behind it is that one day all cell phones can be made here within the U.S. So we'll see what happens.
Well,
but
they're saying they're made in China now.
Yeah.
And then the game plan so we're back to being in bed with China. Wow, man.
They're double talking. They don't have an actual Zeus.
Somebody has to go to hell. It is true. Look I'm seeing the chat. So these cell phones, ladies and gentlemen, they're made in China.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up.
Zeus, when everything is a grift, you just find a way to get by. Like all you need to do is like slide on by. That's all you need.
This stuff, it literally gets correct. I mean, the hypocrisy is getting exposed in real time. Wow.
Yeah. I tell you, Zeus, like it's really interesting to watch all of this unfold. And the part that I struggle with is Trump supporters not realizing what's happening, right? I mean, when you take a look at the fact that Donald Trump has amassed 40% of his wealth since coming back into office, right? And whether you talk about their meme coins, which they continue to rebrand, the next meme coin, and then you talk about all of the other backhanded deals that they make, and then you couple that with the fact that they have no value when it comes to doing anything that benefits American citizens.
Yeah.
And the escalating tensions. I mean, Zeus, didn't MAGA tell us that Donald Trump was a strong leader, someone that people respected and feared on the world stage.
Right, with the Rambo chest and stuff like that, right? They said this guy was the strongest thing. They actually at one point told me if he got in a ring with Iron Mike back when he was younger, he would knock Mike Tyson out. This is what they told me. So,
Well, Zeus, I don't know about you, right? But I know for a fact that if I have respect for someone, right? Not only if I have respect, but let's think about like when we were kids, right? You had a healthy fear of your parents because you knew that if you messed up, they might go grab that switch or whatever the case may be. Well,
that's real. That's a
if
real spill right there. Yeah, the switch thing, that's real.
Yeah. So if these countries had a healthy level of respect or fear for Donald Trump, then you wouldn't have people like Bibi Netanyahu specifically going against what Donald Trump said as far as bombing Iran and then doubling down and dragging the US in, demanding that we get involved because now they've actually bit off more than they can chew. They don't respect him and he's not a strong man.
Bingo, bingo. He's not a strong man. W. Santana. So you're saying, what about this Russia? Does Putin, honestly, Santana, does Putin think Donald Trump is strong?
Zeus, the one thing that I can appreciate is a good troll, right? I don't like trolls in general because most trolls, they're not funny and they're not good at it.
Yeah.
Putin is a good troll. And I say that not only because, of course, after Trump got, nominated, Putin on state TV in Russia decided to blast his wife nudies all over TV, right? But after this past weekend with Trump's military parade, which was a dud, they trolled him again, right? They put out more mockeries of Donald Trump, and they posted, videos of their military parade, the military parade that we had here, all this other stuff. And so again, if you talk about someone who actually respects Donald Trump, Putin wouldn't allow that on state-run TV. He allowed it because they don't respect him.
Got it. So we don't get any respect. W. Santana. All right, brother. We've covered a lot of territory. We've connected a lot of dots, and it's one thing is crystal clear. You always get in the box and you tell the truth. So I truly, truly appreciate it. All right.
Absolutely. If I could say one last quick thing, Juneteenth coming up. I don't know if I'll get an opportunity to talk to you again before Juneteenth, but I'll just say happy Juneteenth to you.
Okay.
Happy Juneteenth to everyone that's watching. Guys, I know that we are in a unsure time, right? There's a lot that's happening, and hopefully the United States continues to, I know they talk about no new wars and all this other stuff. Hopefully we can stay out of conflict because our brave soldiers deserve better. They don't deserve to be dragged into a conflict that we did not start, and they don't deserve inept leadership where it comes from Donald Trump, Pete Keg's breath, W. Zeus, or any of the other people. So hopefully we can actually continue to stay out of those wars. But last but not least, make sure that you're building a community. Find people that you love, care about, protect. Make sure you foster a positive environment, especially this space. I love being in the kingdom, whether I'm up here or not, or whether I'm typing or not. I'm here every morning. Find a community, love each other, protect each other, build the community, and just take care of each other.
Amen. And that's positive. And that's why I say we don't spread hate, we spread love. And that's a good example. Thank you, Brother Santana. I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. You see that? What a show of force. We are telling so much truth, ladies and gentlemen. It's incredible. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't even checked in with a Trump supporter today at all. So W to the chat. It's almost as if the Trump supporters, they finally have learned their lesson. If you come in here, honestly, you better be prepared to defend your position. Other than that, zip it, W. Zeus. DJ doesn't want anymore. I checked in with him. He said, Zeus, please don't do that to me again. The way you and the Kabira, you all teamed up on me, and you just made me cry. All right, please don't do that again. But I'm going to tell Trump supporters, listen, I didn't start the dogpiling business. I learned it, and I remember, and you can remember it too. Go watch Donald Trump with President Zelensky, and you tell me how many people attacked Zelensky that day. That's a dog pile. That's something, and it was a disgrace to this country. W. Zeus. You wanna talk dog pile? That's what it is. All right. If you're a Trump supporter, please put a 1 in the chat real quickly, and we'll bring you right on up here. We still got a little bit of time left. All right. Yes, put a 1 in the chat. Do we have any Trump supporters out there? Listen, I'm going to give them a little bit of a chance because people say, Zeus, I came to your show and you didn't talk to me. Conservative Democrat, I've brought you up here before, but what happens is when I talk to you, you sit there and you play possum, right? And that's not really what I want to see. All right. So when you actually get a solid argument together that you believe we could actually pick apart and discuss, go ahead and send me a guest request. But in the meantime, just enjoy this. W. Zeus. Conservative Christina, she doesn't want to come up here again. I think she understood last time we checked in that she's way out of her league, all right? Because not only am I honest, humble, and handsome, but honestly, I'm on top of my game. She found that out too. All right, let's move it along, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Shay. How are you doing, Shay? Welcome. You ran off all the Trump supporters, Shay. Why did you do that?
Sorry, damn it, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, it's like they can't stand what you're doing, all right? But how are you?
Me and Val and Santana and Nutty and so many of us, Takesha. You have a powerhouse. What can I say?
Yeah. W Shay, that's W Shay. And we've been doing it for a while, right? And get this, Shay, they say that you're paid by the DNC to do this. Isn't that interesting? Because, I would love to get on to that program if you don't mind sharing that, if you don't mind.
I'll let you know. If I get a check, I'll let you know.
That's an inside joke. You too, Ange, yeah. And they say that when they can't beat us with the merits of the argument.
Yeah, exactly. All of us up here. I wish, my goodness, it would make it a lot easier dealing with these knuckleheads.
Yeah.
And then we have people supposedly on our side doing all kinds of crazy stuff. There's a lot of people that have just kind of lost their minds lately, but that's okay.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, I'm just curious. Have you been noticing the fracture within the MAGA base going on with all this?
Well, I've seen things, but I'm more than willing to explore what you're talking about because I think it's very important to do.
I mean, we're talking about Tucker Carlson. We're talking about Candace Owens. We're talking about all kinds of people with Patriot in their name. We're talking about, what's his name? He was just on the Joe Rogan show. He is a big libertarian. Jeff Smith, I think.
David Smith, I think.
David Smith, thank you. David Smith. That's a huge one. He has come out and said, I am sorry I voted for this man.
Why did David was an interesting one, and it had to do with this conflict that's breaking out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, because what their understanding is that he is backing Israel into a full-fledged war that Israel would preemptively struck Iran, right?
Well, somebody asked me to prove it, Shay. Should we prove it?
I mean, yeah, we can absolutely.
Okay, I'll prove it.
David Smith, yeah, bring it up.
Well, I have the audio if they want.
Yeah.
All right, here you go. All right, here it
for
goes.
him to be impeached.
All right, fair enough. All right, so listen,
go
ladies
ahead,
and gentlemen, this is the audio. They asked me to bring it up.
Back to the negotiating table. It's like coming back to the negotiating table. It's like sitting after Pearl Harbor and telling FDR, now's the time to go negotiate with the Japanese. Right. Negotiations are over now. The time for negotiations was before this. And so, yeah, Donald Trump, listen, man, I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one. But he should be impeached and removed for this one, and not on some not on some ridiculous Nancy Pelosi. Of course, the Congress will never do it because they're all a bunch of corrupt hacks.
This is the one thing they support. This is like
Donald Trump should be impeached and removed for this. All of his supporters should turn on him. It's the absolute betrayal of everything that he ran and campaigned on and everything that he stood for. And I will say, despite the fact that, Donald Trump supporters have been labeled like a cult following, and that certainly is true for a percentage of his supporters, he is going to lose his coalition over this. I know I don't just speak for myself when I say there are a lot of us who simply will not go along with this. So it's just a devastating mistake. By the way, on top of that,
there you go. All right, W. Shay, you brought that up. So MAGA Queen, zip it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot. There's several of them coming out and saying, I didn't vote for this. I voted for no wars and closed borders and lower prices, and I'm not getting any of this. Wow. And it's really sad, but but I don't feel for them. So, I hear a lot of people like, oh, no. I don't buy anybody that's going to come up here and say, I regret my vote, and say, I didn't know.
Oh, that part,
You
yeah.
say I regretted your vote. I get that. We're going to have a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that you might say, but I didn't know he was going to do mass deportations. I'm sorry. I think I remember hearing the chants in his rallies of mass deportations.
Yep.
He said he was going to pardon January 6ers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people. I mean, he had them sing the national anthem. I don't even understand how people in jail that are being so mistreated and being starved and isolated had time to get together and sing the national anthem and make a record out of it. I'm just saying. The stuff that you fall for is so stupid sometimes. But you're just sitting here going, okay, so he has said every single thing he is doing. He has said it. The people around him have said it. And you guys, but he didn't say. So you got the Cuban Americans speaking out. You got Latina for Trump. You got Latinos for Trump. You got all the heads of this stuff coming out and saying, this is not what we voted for. He said he was going for the criminals. No. He said you are poisoning the blood of this country.
Bingo, W. Shay. Shay is cooking. Go ahead, Shay. Please keep educating these demons. They know what you're saying is true.
I just sit here and go, you listen to something here, but you're not willing to listen to what he says. I don't know how many times I've debated like the Russian bears and all of that, and they'll just say, I don't watch his speeches, but I don't listen to him.
Lies.
Well, first of all, if that's even true, which we know it's not, right?
Yeah.
Let's just pretend that they're telling the truth for a minute.
Oh,
okay?
that's a bridge too far, Shay. I can't even pretend they can tell the truth. These people don't know the truth.
Just pretend for a second.
Oh, I'm trying
Close
so
your
hard.
eyes.
I'm trying so hard, but
we're gonna do an exercise here.
Okay.
Just close your eyes, breathe in deeply, and exhale, and just imagine that they're telling the truth for a minute. That they don't listen to his speeches. Why? Why do you just? So you obviously just vote one way, and you don't try to listen to what the policies are, what they're saying, the tactics are going to be, or the diplomacy, the people he's hiring. None of this stuff was a surprise.
But they debate. They debate though.
Watched him like a hawk.
Yeah. It's their hypocrisy. These are the same people. They don't listen to Trump, but they want to debate you. They want to debate you, Shay, even though they don't listen to him. Does that make any sense?
That's what's so crazy. It's like you can't. That's like I'm not even gonna go there. It's debating with something that just doesn't work. I'm gonna be nice. But here, so Donald Trump just released the text by Mike Huckabee. Now, if y'all don't know who Mike Huckabee is, that's he was senator, I believe, from Arkansas. His daughter is currently the governor of Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Yep.
Mike Huckabee is now the ambassador to Israel. And he has sent a text to Trump encouraging him to listen to God.
Huckabeest.
That's funny. And Trump released this text message.
Oh.
And now it's not the full text message. In my understanding, it's encouraging him to strike Iran.
Get out of here.
Protect Israel, yes.
Wow.
Read the text, which I could.
Wow, my lady. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Read it. I can read the text, but it's painful. But it's all about God saying to you and Butler, God is talking to you in your whispers, and you have to be quiet and you listen to God. God will tell you, I am here, keeping our flag above the embassy like I said I would. It is just, and he puts it out there for everyone to read, this text.
Yeah.
So what is he setting the ground for, guys? What is he setting the stage for?
Oh.
Think about what he's doing. What is he planting into his base? What's he doing?
He's telling the Christians this is what they got to do in the name of God. Easy to figure this out, right?
100%.
So your pastor's got to get on message now and rally behind him. Oh, once again, we've caught you Trump supporters. Once again,
Yep.
supposed to be doing the works of the Lord, but doing works of the devil.
Absolutely. So they are going to, and this is going to be interesting.
Wow, Shay.
If
Thank
we
you,
do.
Shay. Thanks for calling that out. Thank you, Shay. Now I got to be extra on the guard about that angle. Because, I did saw that, but I had to go live, and I didn't really think too much about it. But now I see what this is.
This is how he has persuaded our quote-unquote Christians to vote for a philandering, cheating, adulterous, lying felon. This is how he's able to do this. Okay. Because they believe there's this whole thing with Israel, supposedly in the Bible, that the Jews have to maintain Israel in order for Jesus to come back there, right? Because Jesus is coming again, right? He's supposed to return again, right? Supposedly, quote unquote.
Well, he ain't returning for Trump supporters. I'll tell you that much. If you know.
No, and I often ask, so what happens to the Jews when Jesus comes? Because they don't believe in him. I'm so confused because he's not their Messiah. That's why they're Jewish and quote unquote we're Christians, right? So it's really weird. And so this is how the manipulation and the Christian nationalism and all this is just wrapped in itself. So he's laying the groundwork to say that God told him to strike Iran, right? So that he can make up for the no wars and, America first crowd and wrap it all through. So this is what's going on, guys. I'm just going to tell you, this is another weapons of mass destruction going on.
Yeah.
Remember the propaganda? That was led by Netanyahu as well, by the way. This is regime change, which I'm not against regime changing in Iran. Anybody knows what's going on in Iran right now? I think the Iranian people would be very happy for a regime change.
Yeah.
Because they're dictatorial and the women are being, hung up and they have to wear this and it's awful. It's awful. It's awful what's going on in Iran. But regardless, if you're America first and you voted for this, you need to wake up. It's another weapons of mass destruction. There is no proof that they've made any sort of weapon. Do they have the capability? May or may not. There is no proof that they do. It is again the same thing. Don't fall for the ploy. Here's what's going on. I've taken enough of your time, my friend. I love you.
Love you too. You're doing the right thing, but thank you for educating us as always, because they get mad, Shay, when you tell them your qualifications. The MAGA men, they can't stand it. And so I really want you to understand, not just you, but all the women that do come up here and just show your grace and your excellencies. These evil people, it really does mean a lot, because what we're doing is we're saving this country. MAGA men have no clue what they're doing. They need to work. They need to actually go to the gym and start working out and stop eating the cheeses and drinking Diet Coke. All right?
This is why you vote for policy, not personas.
Thank you.
Okay?
Bunch of losers. Yeah.
I love you guys.
All right.
Have a wonderful day in the kingdom.
All righty then. All righty again. Ladies and gentlemen, again, another huge round of applause for the beautiful Shay. No lies detected. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, listen, we've reached that pinnacle moment in the show where Big Zeus has to get up out of here. All right, you all who tuned in this morning deserve a huge round of applause. Oh, by the way, special thank you to all the subscribers, gifters, moderators, and panelists. And you know exactly who each and every single one of you are. I don't get to thank you enough for what you do, but without you, this show wouldn't be what it is. Entertaining, educational, and engaging. Marissa, thank you. Yo, I gotta leave, Kabira. I am so sorry. I have other affairs to tend to in the kingdom, as do you. But this was an amazing show because we did what we did, and all of our critics, all of our detractors, all the Zeus haters out there, they had nothing to say today, which tells me, and Shay kind of touched on it, that the will of MAGA, you know how I tell you, it's going to snap like a twig. We're getting there, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it or not, the big beautiful trash. I'm not even going to call it a bill. No, I shouldn't even say that. Ugly, big, nasty trash. That's what it is. W Zeus. That bill going, nothing to sneeze at. No one's thrilled about that. The ICE raids. Nobody's thrilled about that, right? The Democrats. We've annihilated all of the things Donald Trump. Every single thing he thought was going to be an easy walk in the park to do, the Democrats, and not just me, but all the independents and the real Americans out there, we stood up and we said absolutely not. All right? And shout out to, the NIH cuts that Donald Trump tried to do. You should go look this up. It turns out that a judge ruled that Donald Trump, you just can't go around cutting funding that you think is illegal because it's DEI. Give the funding back to the university. So you can go look at that, ladies and gentlemen. All right? The judge said, give the money back to those universities and those organizations, and you can't do that. And so these are things that are actually happening in real time, ladies and gentlemen. And so with that being said, I'll say this. We got to give one last round of, you guessed it, boos and shame. And these boos and shame, they go out to all of the Zeus haters out there. And these are not just my haters. These are your haters. These people wake up every day, 3 a.m., get on TikTok, and conjure up lies and misinformation, all on behalf of their dear leader. Instead of getting their behinds up, and I almost slipped up, right? Instead of getting their behinds up and doing something godly, they get up and they do something very, very nasty and wicked. And I've never seen anything like this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send them to hell one last time. I almost slipped up, huh? Silence! All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care and stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. Listen, don't do nothing I wouldn't do. Seriously, all right? Do better and don't let these people manipulate you. We're out of here. Thank you, Shay. 1600 Pennsylvania Ave, you're right, Heaven. You know what we do, all right? It's coming. Jazzy, the beautiful Yazzie Jazzy. Z-Pop, keep up the great work, Z-Pop. MAGA Queen, you come onto my show every day, MAGA Queen, and you should be grateful because what we do is, thank you. We actually take time out of our busy mornings to try to help you. But your pride, MAGA Queen, is disgusting and it's disturbing. Dan, I got the cash app, bro. You didn't have to do that. That was mighty generous. All right, seriously, you didn't have to do it. Kabira, you too. You always take good care of. Actually, all of you. Rick. Trump supporters, don't even go live on TikTok today, Trump supporters. I'll be honest with you because you don't have it anymore. The people, if you look at that rally, the rallies, we're going to do some drill, baby, drill. Compare the rallies against the parade. The numbers aren't on your side, MAGA, and you know it. We do drill, baby, drill, not you.
About a year and a half ago when she was getting killed in the polls. She said, I like fracking very much. Look, they always go back to what they want.
Yeah.
They always go back. She can't help it. She's a radical left Marxist. She can't help it. But we're going to end that, and we will frack, and drill, baby, drill.
You know it.
Drill, baby, drill.
We're going to be drilling so deep.
We're going to be for these guys. We're going to take out so much money. We're going to pay down our debt. We're going to lower your taxes.
Here we go.
Insane asylums. You know, they go crazy when I say the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Drill, baby, drill. We're going to frack.
Let's go. I see ya. All of us. Hey, let's go in the midterms. She's getting killed in the pack. She said, I like fracking very much. They always go back to what they want. They always go back. She can't help it. She's a radical. And we're gonna end that. And we will Hey, we're gonna take down so much money. We're gonna pay down our debt. We're gonna lower your taxes. You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. Hit it, drill, baby, drill. We're gonna frack, 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 drill, baby, drill. I never seen that one. That was dope. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal. Here it goes. Coco.
You know, they go crazy when I say.
What are you saying?
The late great Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, they do.
They say, why would he mention Hannibal Lecter?
Why would he mention Hannibal Lecter?
We're gonna lower your taxes.
Oh, that
deep insane asylums.
Okay.
You know they go crazy when I say the late great
Hannibal.
Drill, 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 baby, drill.
It gets me every time. Ladies, keep it clean. Q-Dog. Talk to him, Q-Dog. They know. Stacy. Hey. Hey. Let's go. Let's go. Hello. Hey. Hello. Can you go? Hey. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. You know, they go crazy when I say, how much do you need, baby? All right, check this out, because, you know, MAGA Queen, she over there struggling, all right? And, you know, you don't want to end up like MAGA Queen, so what you need? Oh, you need me to go ahead and pay off all your debt? All right, I'll pay off all your debt. Oh, you want me to lower your taxes, too? All right, we're going to lower your taxes, all right, like you wouldn't believe, because what we're going to do is make MAGA Queen so jealous. All right, and we're going to drill, baby, drill, because there's so much liquid gold underneath. All right, all we got to do is drill, baby, drill, and you know what? Do a little bit of fracking, if you know what I mean. Hey, MAGA Queen, I understand. All right, but it'll get better soon, one of these days, but not anytime in the near future. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to get up out of here. Take care. Stay safe out there. Those